So, what is Tasawwuf?
Tasawwuf. Tasawwuf can simply be defined that if in a proper time and age, if somebody takes God as a top priority and works for that priority, he's a mystic. It's not a complicated thing. It doesn't involve any serious hierarchy. It doesn't involve any specific teacher and student relationship. The first ever thing it involves is your sincerity of purpose. And if all the things you are sick or you are in a mood, you are normal, abnormal, whatever you are, if you have a strong desire to know, love God, to settle down in His vicinity, to be more close to Him, that you feel the nostalgia of finding the truth about Him, then you are a mystic. And anybody could be mystic. The life of the Prophet told us that there was a time when there is a good teacher, when there is a good teacher, even 100,000 people could be better than any mystic on God's earth in one time. Like Ashabi Rasul, like the friends of the Prophet. They are better than anybody in Islam. So we call them so because they were not one or two, three people. 3,000, you see, took bite on Rizwan, and see, there were 100,000 on the day of khutbah was delivered. So the rule is not very specific. The rule is not that only 1 out of 1,000 and millions can be a mystic. The rule is that anybody who is very sincere to God and who makes some efforts for how a moment that he carries iman, sense of love of God in him, you see. So he can qualify as mystic.
Sir, in one of your lectures, you stated that there is a difference between mysticism and spiritualism.
Yeah, spiritualism is now a hoax of an idea that are coming across us, like levitations, yogas, and like you see, shamanism in Africa, and like Rakis, and this is all called, you see, mysticism. Anyway, obviously, the maximum benefit you could give to them, but these are simple matters to improve your psychic understanding, and you may call it spiritualism, but mysticism has to do nothing with it. There's two rules, are very different. In all these exercisional, you see, attitudes, anybody who is involved in paining himself to exercising, like Buddha did in his early days of, you see, Hindu Mat, tapasya. It's called tapasya. So-called it's a spiritual exercise. All these exercises are meant to gain some power within or without. But a mystic doesn't wish like these things. He turns out to be weaker and weaker in the search of God. He presents himself to be an empty man and a hollow man. He just wants to be filled up with the love of God. So the rules are very different. Anybody who goes to the exercises in favor of the self and tries to find powers like magic, like levitation, like telekinesis, telepathy, clairvoyance, this will be called non-mystic attitude, and he will be considered a spiritualist. But anybody who has the aim to reach God, and he loves God, and he surrenders himself and to the orders and dictums of Almighty Allah, we only consider him a mystic.
What is the concept of chilla in the teachings of Tasawwuf?
Nowhere. Nowhere. Maximum, you say, people take the concept of chilla from Ghar Hira, but that's a thinking time, not an exercisional attitude. That's a thinking time. But you set aside, Prophet was in a society where everybody, you see, there were kafirs and non-believers, and there were licentious Arabs, and absolutely free in all kinds of sexology. So his decency would not take it as normal. He wanted to be separate, to think. In that particular society, just like you are in America or anywhere else, and around you there is a flux of all these things. How would you manage? You are getting involved every time the door knocks up and say, come on, let's have a dance, let's have this. So these overcrowded physical attitudes, you want to be separate to think. So he went to Hira to find a solace and a time and a place to think. That's it. But this kind of chilla is a hoax.
Sir, many scholars opine that there is a clash between mysticism and Sharia. What is your opinion on
Absolutely not. The Sharia's definition and the mysticism definition tell us what it is. The Sharia is divine, and the least things which you can carry, which can carry you to the destination. Literally, Sharia means the least of the things which can carry you to your destination. Suppose you travel light when you must. This is the rule. Travel light when you must. Sharia is the lightest burden on man which can carry you to the destined end. And tariqah. Well, tariqah means the main pillar on which the tent stands. It's the main internal pillar. So, if you can count that Sharia and tariqah are one the same thing, and I wrote it, and this may be in Urdu, Sharia is an intention for tariqah.
Sir,
tariqah is an intention for Sharia. So you can say, okay, normally we put it wrong, that Sharia is the intention for tariqah. No, tariqah is the intention for Sharia. Similarly, Imam Bukhari in his first Babul Iman says one very simple thing. Innamal amalu bin niyat. Every act will be judged according to the intentions you made for it. So the philosophy of intention is tariqah, and the philosophy of deeds is Sharia.